This week, join me as I explore a biblical catastrophe of epic proportions: the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. If the devastation of Sodom and Gomorrah was as terrible as the Bible describes, could some geologic record still exist? To find out, I'm leaving Jordan and traveling west into Israel, to Ein Gedi, fewer than 30 miles from Babedra. I'm with Dr. Shmuel Marco, an expert on the geological history of the biblical lands. Shmuel wants to show me a remarkable record of the many earthquakes that have shaken this region. Earthquakes that date back to the time of Abraham and Lot, and well beyond. Together, we'll examine these chalky white walls in search of clues in the geological record. Clues that might explain the upheaval that caused the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah.
We're going to climb up there. The climbing gear is already there, so we'll have to rappel this cliff over there on top.
Fine. Okay. Lead the way.
Shmuel tells me there have been 17 recorded earthquakes in the Dead Sea region just in the past century. The Salty Sea sits right on top of an immense geological fault. It's a tear in the Earth's crust that stretches from Lebanon to Mozambique. A 4,000-mile geological fault line that marks the dividing line between the African and Arabian tectonic plates. If this fault was active at the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, could an earthquake help explain how the cities were destroyed?
That's a nice view.
This is the Dead Sea, this is the Moab Mountains.
Yeah.
We're standing on the bottom of an ancient lake that was here in the last ice age until about 15,000 years ago.
A drastically falling water table has left this lake bed very high and very dry. Today it stands on the edge of an arid desert gully 150 feet deep. Our plan is to rappel down the cliff's edge so Shmuel can show me the layers of sediment left behind after the lake receded.
Let's go check it out.
The rock is soft and crumbles beneath our feet. But it's still easy to see that this cliff face is composed of thousands upon thousands of tiny layers. In fact, each layer was formed by the cyclical deposition of sediment on the floor of this ancient lake.
What does one line represent?
One layer represents one season deposited at the bottom of a lake.
White layers represent the summer seasons, and brown layers represent winter.
So you can date these layers the way someone might date tree rings.
Exactly. The tree rings are the exact analog to these layers. The difference is that trees don't live 50,000 years. Here we have more than 50,000 years record.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very long record here. We have the longest record on Earth.
Wow.
This 50,000-year record allows geologists to clearly see when earthquakes shook the region.
We're looking for layers like this that are disturbed.
Shmuel points to a large band of sediment different from the rest. It's thicker and jumbled.
The sediment accumulated up to here. Above this was water, and then an earthquake shook the bottom. And all this thickness of layers was mixed and all chaotic here. This is one earthquake that disrupted a layer that's worth several hundreds of years of deposition.
Okay.
Yes.
Shmuel explains that this earthquake would have registered over 6.0 on the Richter scale, more than enough to have destroyed a city that, like Sodom or Gomorrah, was built of mud bricks and stone. And according to Shmuel, the evidence is very compelling that this is precisely what occurred.
You see, it tells us that around 4,000 years ago, there could have been an earthquake. There were earthquakes in this region of time.
So in this case, the geological evidence supports the possibility of Sodom and Gomorrah actually being destroyed.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very likely.
So it's not just possible, it's likely.
It's very likely.
Still, an earthquake alone isn't enough. To fully corroborate the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction, I need more than a seismic event. I need fire and brimstone. And I know just the man for the job. I'm rejoining Rami Khoury at the eastern edge of the Dead Sea, on the Lisan Peninsula. We're fewer than 10 miles from the ruins of Bab edh-Dhra and 20 miles from Safi, thought to be ancient Zoar.
What's the information in the Bible?
Rami has told me of an intriguing idea. If he's right, he'll be drawing a direct line from the Genesis story to where we're now standing on the Dead Sea Plain.
Yeah, everything that's mentioned in the Bible and the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, in terms of natural resources and geology and terrain, is still here. Hasn't changed very much.
Rami explains that one of the Bible's supernatural resources, brimstone, exists here in its natural state.
What do you think that is?
I don't know, some sort of chalk?
That's almost pure sulfur.
Sulfur.
Pure sulfur. Very high quality.
Tastes like sulfur. And it's throughout the walls here.
It's throughout, not just throughout the walls, it's throughout this whole area. The whole area is full of this stuff. Hey, let's get a couple more of these babies.
Okay.
And I'll show you what happens to it.
That's a nice one. Did pretty well, yeah?
I'm not exactly sure what Rami hopes to show me with this pile of sulfur, but he better make it quick. It's getting dark out here.
Pick it up. Let me show you. You know what happens to sulfur when you light it? Well, it lights. Catches fire.
Oh, okay. Okay, that smells.
Yeah, better put it down. That's burning sulfur, otherwise known as brimstone.
In my whole life, I didn't know what brimstone was.
Well, brimstone just means burning stone in sort of medieval English.
References to fire and brimstone are found throughout the Bible. In fact, they're the preferred instruments of divine retribution. And Rami explains brimstone was used as a fuel throughout the Dead Sea Plain for thousands of years. But no physical evidence has ever been found that burning brimstone once fell from the sky.
So it's another part of the Bible which is remarkably found in the landscape here.
Based on human reality.
Huh. Now, does that lend credibility to the idea of Sodom and Gomorrah actually happening?
Well, it certainly makes it credible to the people in this region because they would remember something about a destruction of a city that may have happened possibly through a natural phenomenon or possibly through the intervention of God.
So when they talk about fire and brimstone, this is what they're talking about. How'd you like that coming down on you?
Sodom and Gomorrah. Could the biblical story of their sudden destruction possibly be true? In Israel and Jordan, I saw evidence of repeated earthquakes and witnessed burning brimstone firsthand.